Needless to say, I think my journal, my gratitude journal, is done. Well, I really cannot put anything more in this one. I've been adding and adding, and I've been stitching papers and whatnot into this thing. I've been slow stitching. I've been did everything I can think of, and just had so much fun with this one. It started off not being very pretty, and then I just started to add more and more things, more and more of my dyed lappies, as I call it, cloths and papers and stenciling, and I even painted in it. And then when I look at it now, I came here, sat in front in my little room. It's nice and hot in here, and I just thought, really, no, I can now write in this. I can also paint in this, but no more adding. It is just too absolute crazy, but I'm coming to love it. So once again, journaling is all about finding out what works for you and what you love. That is what I am learning. I am learning through my journaling what works for me and what doesn't work for me. And that is the thing that I am absolutely loving about this. You just create your books and you put them away and you start a new one. And I didn't realize it, but you can see your creative growth. You can really see it. And that is what I'm falling in love with. So yes, after this one, I need to create another one because all of my books are now nearly done. And but before I do a new book or something else, let me just show you my latest, my finished stick journal. This, I must admit, I absolutely love this one. I've been trying with my others to get to the point where everything is earthy, it's natural, and I think with this one I got the closest yet. So I've got many pieces of cloth in here. My outside is leather. Remember, I showed you when it was too small, and I just decided, no, I need to add more pieces of leather. That is what I did. And the awesome thing with leather is you just glue more pieces on. I mean, just look at that. That is a loose piece. I glued more pieces on to make it wider, to make it longer. I added a little hole there, and now I can close it up with a beautiful, just a nice piece of lint. I don't know what that is in English. I think I also had that in my tea bundles. So this is it. What I also love is, there you can see the small one is in there. That's my small little one, and I just added 3 large pieces on it. It works fantastic. I didn't even sew this. I really just used some Bostik, really good glue. But I even learned cold glue works perfectly. So when you have leather, you just glue pieces together and you make this beautiful cover. I had this little piece of leather over, and I thought, I'm just going to glue it there. Now just look at it. It's just beautiful there. I've got my hole there. I just used my hand cloth pieces that I dyed, my cottons. I just used that to fasten my stick. And this is just absolutely gorgeous. So when you look through this, work through it, I mean, what I've realized also with these journals, it's a really deep process when you just look through them. So when you are looking through this one, you need to tread lightly. This can fall apart. This is very, very rough. And so tread lightly, but also in a spiritual meaning. Tread lightly. You know, this is, I don't want to say holy ground, but it was my spiritual journey. So it is holy ground. So whatever you create, it's your own spiritual journey. And now my dog is having some fun in his basket again. That is what you hear in the background, is Charlie Chaplin playing. Oh boy. So you tread lightly. You know, you think you take somebody else's work and you just look at it and you just go through it and you don't honor it. I'm actually realizing with this, you know, we look at other people's stuff and we think, oh, it's just something. But I really created this as a gratitude journal, is a part of me. I gave it my all, you know. So I didn't think of this. This was not what I wanted to say, but this is actually so true. You know, we think other people's work is just, oh, it's okay, or, you know, we've got these judgments and opinions, and we didn't realize it got them through very, very tough times. So when we look at art and other people's creations, we got to tread very, very lightly. Isn't it awesome? Will you please excuse me for a moment? I will need to get my dogs to keep quiet. They were actually playing with a shoe. So both of them was pulling on the shoe and playing, and that was the noise. So let's get back. Tread lightly. You know, this is a thing that I didn't realize up to now. You know, when I look at my stuff, I give it my all. You know, it comes from the inside and it's a part of me. So let's start to look at other people's creations as holy ground, you know. Tread lightly. So you see, my journal is even teaching me. So I am just gonna stand up and let's just go through this. So there was just a little stencil that I bought. This was just an old music sheet. Another piece of music sheet. You can see my different cloths. Once again, slow stitching. Just my lavenders again, old cloths. My dyeing, rusty paper. Just a piece that was on the back of a music sheet. Oh, the sweet mystery of life. At last I found thee. Oh, I know at last the secret of it all the longing, seeking, striving, waiting, yearning, the burning hopes, the joy and the idle tears that fall. For this love and love alone the world is seeking, And this love and love alone that can repay. This the answer, this the end, and all of living, for it is love alone that rules for you. Isn't it awesome? So that was at the back of a music sheet that I kept for ages. And once again, I am learning. Use what you have to create what you love. So there I just did some slow stitching on this little piece. You can put in there, life is playfulness. We need to play so that we can rediscover the magic all around us. Isn't that awesome? We need to become like little children again. That is what my message is all about. We need to start playing again. We need to find out what life is all about and what makes us come alive, you know. So isn't that awesome? This is also my paper. You can see the back of the old paper. All these, there was the stenciling. Remember, I showed you in my previous video. Just a jelly plate print on a piece of ordinary book page. Just another piece of paper. There you can see music sheets, pieces of music sheets. There I was just putting a thing that I got picked up in the road, some slow stitching. More of the things I dyed. Remember my tea dyed bundles. Once again, there's just be patient. Everything is working out according to plan. I also love, you can see how I've cut my papers with my new pair of scissors I found at the charity shop. So I'm learning, I'm playing. Another music sheet, a piece that I cut off, and I am really learning to just use what I have now. Remember that one eco die that I made? Only the one piece of cloth came out beautifully. So I've just used that there. Another beautiful picture on a very, very old music sheet. There you can see. You see, I just glue things that speak to me. Just that is a painted vintage tray clothing. Isn't that awesome? So I just cut that out, glued it there. I think some of my things are sticking together. What I'm also learned that I really, really enjoy is using my sewing machine. There you can see I sewed it. This was just hearts that I cut out from my dyed paper. This was a piece of old cloth. I just put everything on. Prepare your mind to receive the best that life has to offer. That is, we need to prepare our minds. Tell our minds, listen, everything is for my good, for my growth. There's just another piece of crochet work. Some of my dyed cloth. I'll be loving you. Celebrate life. You see, it is so simple, but it's my holy ground. I birthed this. I created this. So to me, this is very, very special. Once again, my slow stitch, a leaf. I love slow stitching leaves on old hand-dyed cloth. There you can just see a doily that I painted long time ago. I dyed, and I was just pinning it there, putting my lavenders in. You can just see. So there are so many things, and I am learning. I am growing. There you can see I absolutely love stitching leaves on cloth or paper. Look how beautiful. I mean, really, who would have thought? Just a piece of linen, a little small doily that I just put on. Once again, I found out all my beautiful handkerchiefs that I buy from the charity shops. I don't have to cut it. I can really just put it in like this. You know, so why cut it? Why sew it on? Just put it on. That is my momigami paper, my hand-dyed paper, more momigami. There's things that I glued on, pieces of patterns. There you can see a beautiful eco-dyed paper, dyed cloth, a little tea bag. You get your teas. Rooibos tea in South Africa, you get in that. Lekker slaap. Heuningbos tea met, what is that? I don't know. 20 tea bags. Once more, just sewed some pieces on. That was making marks on a piece of cloth. You see, I was just playing. This was one of my cloth papers, momogami papers. I just glued pieces of cloth on there. The back of my momogami. Just look at the beautiful. I wish you could feel it. It's so beautiful. There's just a piece of crochet thing with just some lappies on. And there you have it. You see, this is just, I've pulled it up. I've added what brought me joy. I made a little pocket there with a music sheet that I slow stitch. This is just a little paper that you can open. And something is written in here. I'm not sure. It's going to be great. So when you open it, you find out it's going to be great. You put it in the little envelope. That is just another envelope to put something in. A jelly plate print. And there I just glued something on. And the end. So, you know, to others, this may seem simple. Or, you know, worthless. Or just, it's okay. Or, it's beautiful. But let's remember that whoever creates something like this, whether it's you, whether it's me, whether it's a friend, whether it's a kid, a little picture that a kid creates, it's just so precious because they gave it their all. And this is what happens when we create our gratitude journals, or a painting, a piece of art, the garden. Whatever we create is just, we manifest through that a piece of who we are. You know, isn't that awesome? So thank you that I can just share one of my Shabby Chic gratitude journals. And as I said, by creating these journals, the different ones, I force myself to try different ones, you know, and then to fold them up and to see where they go, you know, where they take me, to what places they take me. And as I said, of all the ones I've created, I think this is my 6th one. I love this one. I love this one. I love the color, I love the feel, I love the things inside. I love how it came together. This is really my Shabby Chic Gratitude Journal, Stick Journal. I love it. You can see I was just hanging things there. And the awesome thing about a journal is you can do whatever blows your hair back. It's yours. It is a part of you. And if someone tells you, I don't like it, that's their problem. You know, that's where they are and who they are and whatever. It's all about what happens to you while you're creating it, what grows, what comes out, what manifests, and you're learning about yourself, what you like, what you don't like, and what an awesome journey. You know, the journey of journaling. I mean, 6 months ago, I've never done this before. Now I am absolutely hooked. As I say, look at this one. I even have a thing to fasten it with because really it cannot close anymore. But isn't this just awesome? You know, all the things in here that I dyed. You know, I dyed the paper. I dyed the cloths. I did some eco dyeing. You know, even though they didn't come out perfectly, I still did it. I sewed these things. You know, isn't it awesome? So, my first one was also, this came off a LP's front. I love you, I honestly love you. And this is some of the beautiful, beautiful tea-dyed cloths that my vintage linens that I tore up that were really broken and ugly. I tore them smaller, I tea-dyed them, I slow stitched them here, a little pocket, a little one of my this was my rust, the rust and the papers. You know, this is my momigami, that is a painting I did, but just look how beautiful they go together. So I am just playing. Another face that I did, just another momigami, another face, just put some hand-dyed paper, hand-dyed cloth. So this is it. I mean, I even learned, I made little holes there, and I just put some of my dyed things there with that. I mean, isn't that gorgeous? So every single time I come and sit down, I do something new that I've never did before, and that makes me so happy. Slow stitch this piece on there. So this was a piece that I found in someone crocheted this. I found it in the charity shop in one of my stashes, and I just put it there. There's one of the hand-dyed old vintage things. That is a pattern I bought. Isn't it beautiful? You can see many, many moons ago. So this was just black and white that I put on with a palette knife, and I just made a circle with a Koki pen. And another, is that the word? Momigami, yes, another momigami picture. That is a face a pen, a face made by a pen. I just glued some paper over it. So I'm definitely not going to go through this book, but you can see different things. I did more art things in here, more played with more black and more white acrylic paints, Cokie pens. That looks like a man. That was just more slow stitching different things together. So each book is different. I do different things in it. I practice things. When I don't like it, I cover it up with something else. As I said yesterday, I was sitting and I was just gluing at, oh my goodness, more music sheets, very, very old music sheets. And I was just gluing it in, and just my things, music sheets. Another beautiful One Kiss music sheet. You know, I could have left the music sheets in my piano stool where moths and stuff are busy destroying them. Or I can use them and really combine them into something that's really very special to me. Can you imagine in a couple of years I'm going through this and I see it? It's so much more than just leaving them in the music chair, you know, piano chair. Now they are here, they are protected, they are becoming something. So, this is just, look, I was just sitting slow stitching yesterday, just those things together, and I just love it. And it was after that that I realized, no, this is now done. I can paint in it and I can write in it, but no more gluing or slow stitching. As I was now doing this, I smelled the geranium. This is a geranium flower that has now fallen out. But the beauty of just opening it and all of a sudden smelling the geranium. Isn't it awesome? So that is what art is all about. That is what creating is all about. Is what does it do in you, for you? What comes to the surface that you need to deal with? You know, things that I'm not good enough, or excuse me, things like that. Things that's not the abundant life. Whatever comes out, to deal with those things and to realize whatever you do, it's your holy ground and it's precious. And forget about others and what they think of your work. It's about what happens to you when you are creating. And many times when you look at art pieces and other people's things and art, something happens to you, happens in you. And that is what the beauty of creating is all about. Becoming like a child again, learn, find out who you really are, what makes you happy, what makes you come alive. There's one of my large leaves in there, just loosely there. And that's what I'm learning. You know, as I said, I've did acrylic paintings for 15 years, and yes, it was exactly what I needed at that stage, and it was awesome. But then I got to a point where I realized I'm now bored, I'm now stuck, I'm not really enjoying it anymore. And that's when I started finding out there's new things. And I am loving my more open creative journey where I can now just do anything. I'm not I'm just free. Isn't it awesome? I'm just free to do whatever I want. That is the most awesome thing. I'm not pressed into one thing. I can do whatever blows my hair back and what makes me come alive and feel alive. So yes, what will I do next? I have no idea. I'm really sitting here, have no idea. I did see how to do another book, and I did it. This is the outside. So now you put your little books in there, and then you use this and make this beautiful whatever. But I'll see if I'm gonna do it. I don't know. Perhaps I will, because I need to have have a journal ready for me to work in whenever the urge comes. So I need to be ready. As I said, this one, remember the one that I made with the leather? That is just to write in. But I think I really also are starting. I did it. I just wrote in this for a while, didn't get very far, and then I started to work in this one again. So, because at that stage when I created this one, I was really listening to teachings and things, and then I was writing things down. In every silence there is a poem for those who hear with their hearts. Isn't it awesome? So perhaps I'll start to draw in this, whatever. I don't know. But this one is still kind of brand new. And then this one, as I said, is now filled up, overflowing. Isn't the overflowing abundant life that's in us? That is how we look. You know, you get to a point where that life just needs to flow out. And that is where this book is now. It is now overflowing, full to the brim and overflowing. Isn't it beautiful? Love you lots, is it from Zetster's Lab. And if we have learned one thing through this video, it is our creations are holy ground, because we pour everything that we have into them. And that makes them precious, way beyond what money can buy or other people's opinions and whatever. It's just holy. Love you lots. Is it from Zetster's Lab?